So there was an outstanding motion that we were waiting for from Judge Netburn in the case of the SEC versus Ripple. This includes what RFAs that the SEC had to respond to that Ripple wants answered. So I'm going to tell you what the judge is going to make them do. And also we're going to be talking about market cycles, the price of Bitcoin, and the length of time that Grayscale assumes that we're going to be in a crypto winter. In other words, how much more downside or sideways action is the crypto market going to experience? I'm going to tell you what some analysts that work at Grayscale have been saying about the bear market, past bear markets, as well as the future price of Bitcoin for 2023. I have some interesting analysis to review that also talks about previous bear markets, how long they lasted, and what it could mean for next year. Hey everyone, my name is Randy. Welcome back to the Late Night Grind. Right now on this channel, we are covering the Ripple versus SEC case, but we're also covering cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all these topics interest you, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join the Late Night Grind community. Also, you go ahead and hit that bell notification icon. That way you'll be notified when I release a new YouTube video. And if you do a couple of things, I'd appreciate it. Smash the thumbs up button, watch this video all the way to the end, and of course, check out my Patreon, link in the description below. New content was just added. And those are really the best things you can do to support a YouTube channel. So if you do that, I'd greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, let's jump into it. All right, let's talk about Bitcoin. Let's talk about some market cycles and how long this downward price action on Bitcoin and most of the crypto market is actually going to last for. Is it actually done being a down market? Is it just going to move sideways for a while? Well, according to Grayscale, they have two analysts that were on record now saying that they believe the bear market officially started on June 13th. Now, that wasn't too far ago. In fact, their definition of the bear market is when the realized price of Bitcoin actually crosses down below the actual market price of Bitcoin. And so that was their definition of the bear market beginnings. Now, how long do they anticipate it's going to last for? Well, you might not like to hear this if you're in HODL mode. They're anticipating a good 8 months worth of a crypto winter before we can see any type of upward movement. In fact, they said it could actually be downward movement or at least sideways movement for the next 8 months. Now, of course, within those 8 months, you're probably going to see some relief rallies. You're probably going to see some small crashes within that. But nonetheless, they say the overall market structure isn't going to continue on a big upward rise. You're not going to see the tide rise overall for a long time. Now, but the one interesting stat that I did see in this report is that the actual Bitcoin network is continuing to do what it does, and thus so is the rest of the cryptocurrency market, which is transact value through its cryptocurrencies. In fact, Bitcoin has been going off regardless of what the price action's been doing. So even though in 2022 the price action is very much down in a bear market, the overall transaction value is skyrocketing. In 2020, the Bitcoin network transacted about $2.3 trillion worth of value over the entire network for the entire year. Well, 2022 is not even over, and it's already transacted a value of over $17.8 trillion worth of value transferred. Now that's just Bitcoin. That's not even including the rest of the cryptocurrency market. XRP has been transacting, in fact, billions and billions of dollars for a long time now. So the rest of the crypto market also doing its job regardless of what the value of the going value or the going rates of the cryptocurrencies actually are. So the underlying asset, so the underlying structure, the underlying network is actually doing its job very well. But in terms of seeing money inflow, new money inflow, capital inflows into the cryptocurrency world, well, the guys at Grayscale, well, they think you're up for a pretty long wait. Now, keep in mind, Grayscale did file a lawsuit against the SEC recently because they're trying to get their Bitcoin trust, their futures-based Bitcoin trust, to be a spot-based Bitcoin trust. Pretty much all, I think there's about 15 to 20 spot ETF Bitcoin spot ETF applications that have been rejected by the SEC. Grayscale has had enough, and they are suing the SEC. And in my opinion, once one of these spot ETFs actually gets approved in the US, that could be a catalyst for some huge capital inflows. And speaking of huge capital inflows, it would take something like that for the price of Bitcoin to start going up, or at least for the rest of the consumer market, the rest of the retail investors to see that Bitcoin is at or near a bottom and that 2023 could be a very good year. So according to Tech Dev on Twitter, he's one of the analysts that I watch. He's usually very bullish on the price of Bitcoin. He's usually very accurate as well. One of the things he's been doing was he tweeted out what has been going on with the market cycles, not just from this past year, but also from 2019 to 2020, 2018, 2015. So what does he say about the price of Bitcoin? He says, according to his analysis, it looks like the Bitcoin market structure is setting up so that 2023 will have a peak wave, a peak 4 wave, as he call it, if you believe the Elliott wave theory in looking at charts and analytics. And so his price prediction is $80,000 to $120,000 for Bitcoin in 2023 as its peak. But he also said that after that happens, you could probably expect yet another deep pullback to $30,000 to $50,000 in 2023 or 2024. And his prediction for 2025 is even higher, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. So how does he come to these predictions? Well, he's looking at the length of each consecutive bear cycle and the degree to which it had actually dropped. So he said the one that we're in right now in 2022 is on point in about the same degree as the 2019 to 2020 bear market was. But that bear market wasn't as bad to a degree of the 2018 bear market, and the 2018 bear market wasn't nearly as bad of a degree as it was from the 2015 bear market. So basically what he's saying is each consecutive bear market doesn't get quite as long and the drops don't go quite as deep. So his prediction of a 80,000 to 120,000 Bitcoin by next year, we're going to have to see that play out, but some of the market cycle theories of him as well as some of the others seem to be shaping up fairly accurately. But we're going to take a look at what the next 5 to 8 months is going to actually take, from Grayscale saying it's not going to go anywhere for 8 months to going to sue somebody like TechDev who said, well, at some point in 2023, we're going to be setting a new all-time high. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. All right, so let's get into what Judge Netburn just handed down. She just responded to a motion that's been outstanding for a while now. Now, this has to do with some of the RFAs. RFAs are basically a request for admission. It's basically a group of questions that both parties agree on the answer to. Now, there was a series of questions that Ripple had sent the SEC. The SEC had actually refused to answer a bunch of them for several different reasons, but nonetheless, the judge eventually sided and said the SEC has to answer some of them, and not only that, they have to actually change some of what they worded in their previous answers to proper answers. And I'm going to tell you one of those proper answers. And this has to do with just reminding the SEC that this is in fact a fair notice trial for Ripple. They are using the fair notice defense. Now, I've seen a few people on Twitter actually point this out, but in her response, she actually referred to a couple of things that the SEC had to correct, one of which was referring to a meeting in which Ripple actually met with the SEC. She says you need to amend your answer to reflect the following. Representatives of Ripple met with members of the SEC and other U.S. regulatory agencies on or about October 29, 2013. Just to remind them that Ripple is claiming fair notice defense, and the fact that they had meetings with you back in 2013, it's not looking good. But nonetheless, she's actually making them print that in their amended answers to some of these RFAs. So she granted in part the fact that they have to answer some of them, and denied in part the fact that they don't have to answer certain other ones. So that's probably going to come back right before we go to trial. Whether or not they have any bearing on this case, guess that remains to be seen. But just the fact that this is just another example of both the judges at some point pinning on the SEC that, hey, listen, the advantage is right now going to Ripple. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end, for smashing that thumbs up button, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.